What's going on, sports fans? Bill Murphy here from the Sports Insanity Network, and welcome to another exciting edition of Murphy's View and another Cincinnati Bengals preview. This week, we got the Bengals taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Both of the teams coming off a loss. The Bengals last week got absolutely smacked, losing to the Tennessee Titans by a score of 27-3. Joe Burrow is continuing to struggle with 20 completions out of 30 attempts, 165 yards, 5.5 average, and was sacked 3 times. On rushing, Joe Mixon, 14 carries, 67 yards, 4.8 average. Jamar Chase, 17 targets, 7 receptions, 73 yards. And yeah, that was the Bengals last week. Now they're coming in to this weekend at 1-3 against a team that they never beat on the road. The last time the Bengals played the Cardinals in Arizona was in 2015, and the Bengals lost that game 34-31. And I think this is going to be a tough game. Joshua Dobbs has been playing very well lately, and we'll get all to that in a second. And if the Cardinals beat the Bengals, it's their 5th straight home win against them. So, yeah, the problem is T. Higgins injured his ribs last week in the game against the Titans. And as of this moment, it is still unknown whether he's going to play or not, but most likely not. But we don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. When it comes to another big problem, that is, of course, Joe Burrow. His calf is still not 100% as of this moment. And he has been struggling, like we said, the last couple weeks. And is that going to affect him this week? Is he not going to be as mobile? And that is another factor that we are going to get to in a moment when we flip it to the Cardinals. Now, speaking of the Bengals, the X factor is going to be Tyler Boyd, is going to be a huge X factor. He is, with T. Higgins injured, Burrow is going to need a new receiver, and I think it's going to be it's going to be Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase. Without Higgins, I think Burrow is going to be highly reliant on those two. Another problem is going to be contain Josh Dobbs, because last week, in addition to his passing yards, you also got to look for his running yards. Last week he ran for 12 carries and 48 yards. So I think that's going to be a huge thing for this Cincinnati defense. And the big X factor, and also the big X factor for this one, is going to be, and I said this last week, I said it the week before, and I will say it again, and that is going to be Joe Mixon. And I know you guys are probably all sick and tired of me saying that by now. And I know you guys are all sick and tired of hearing me saying that by now. But hear me out. Because Burrow's hurt, and because Higgins will most not likely be playing, if they don't use the passing game and the receiving yards, they're most likely going to utilize the run game. And this is why I think they need to they need to utilize Mixon. Through the past 4 games, he's averaging 4.2 yards a carry and has 247 yards and a touchdown. And in recent weeks, the running backs have been just destroying this weak Arizona defensive line, such as Christian McCaffrey having 179 total yards and scored 4 times. And back when Tony Pollard ran for 122 yards. So I think right now Mixon has got to take advantage of this weak Arizona defense. And I think that's going to be a huge X factor for him and for the Bengals. Now, flipping it over to the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals also coming off a loss against the San Francisco 49ers, losing 35-16. Joshua Dobbs completed 28 completions for 41 attempts, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns, was sacked once. James Conner, 11 carries, 52 yards, 4.7 average. And Marquise Brown for 7 receptions, 96 yards, 13.7 average, no touchdowns. And also Michael Wilson, 7 receptions, 76 yards, 2 touchdowns. Okay, I think the X factor for the Cardinals is going to be Marquise Brown, Michael Wilson, and Zach Ertz. They looked really strong last week. Michael Wilson getting 2 touchdowns. I think Dobbs is going to throw the ball to them. And on top of that, Dobbs in the running game with 52 yards. And also, I think it's going to be James Conner, who had 52 yards last week against the 49ers. So I think they need to utilize him, and that's going to give this Cincinnati defense some trouble. And also, on the offensive side of the coin, I would say Arizona needs to take advantage of Joe Burrow's injury. And I know that sounds terrible, but what I mean by that is with Burrow's sore calf, he's not being as mobile. So I think the Arizona defense could take advantage of that, even though their defense is not that great. So, yeah, my prediction, I think it's going to be Cincinnati 20, Arizona 17. If you like what you see here, and why wouldn't you, because this content's amazing, go to www.thesportsansanitynetwork.com. Check out our blogs, vlogs, and podcasts available on all platforms. Check us out at Sports Insanity Real on X. And don't forget to check out our vlogs here on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'm Bill Murphy for the Sports Insanity Network. This has been Murphy's View. So stay safe, take care, and hooray!